Hi, third grade. I am making a video for Wednesday. Today is our second day of writing our opinion essay. And in a moment, I am going to remind you about what we did yesterday and prepare you for what you're going to do today. So what you'll need is your note catchers, your One Well book, and this video. So yesterday we used this. Let's do it so you can actually see it. There we go. We use this as an example of what an essay might look like if we were focusing on access. We know that there are three things that are threatening the world's freshwater sources, and we know that those are demand, access, and pollution. And we made some note catchers in your EL book on page 22, 27, and 34 that we gathered some information last week to help us write this essay. So yesterday we started by hooking the reader, and then we also made sure that after we hooked the reader, that we wrote a sentence that explained or that told us what the issue was. Today's learning target is I can help the reader understand the issue better with more by describing the problem. So our main part was millions of people do not have access to enough fresh water. Now yours may look different than that because yours may have to do with demand, do not have enough water. The earth is not, the population doesn't have enough water. Yours also might look different because it might have to do with pollution. That pollution is harming the freshwater. That could be part of yours. Depending on what you used, you'll have your note catcher. Yesterday we used the issue part of your note catcher. We wrote down one of the sentences that came from our note catcher and put it and added it to, made it make sense and added it to our sentence for our the issue. So now the rest of this is going to also come from our note catcher. We're going to use the part where it has the impact. How does this problem affect people? Why should people care? So our second guiding question says, how do people convince others to take action to contribute to a better world? Well, nobody's going to care about the issue if they don't really understand how it impacts others and how it impacts them. So this section here is going to help us with this section here. So the second part of your paragraph is going to describe the issue. So right now we're not talking about how we're going to solve it. We're going to just talk about why this problem is a problem and how it affects other people. So I'm looking over here and I see that it says it affects people by farmers don't have enough water to grow crops. Now this is more of a note catcher, so this is more of a sentence structure where we're going to make it make sense. So this may not be a complete sentence, whereas here we have to make sure it is. So we have farmers often do not have enough water to grow their crops. Okay, so what? So food has become scarce. Not for everyone, but for people who depend, those farmers who depend on that food either to make money for their family or to provide that food for their family. Okay, so there was one sentence. That's one. Two, people have to walk to get water. And we read a lot about that. That's definitely a problem for access. So we looked back at our One Well book and we got a little bit more information. You are certainly welcome to go use your One Well book. 1 billion people have to walk at least 15 minutes to get fresh water for the day and then carry it home. So I expanded on this idea about having to get water and I put it as an actual fact. And by saying 1 billion people have to walk 15 minutes, that is pulling on a little bit of their heartstrings. And again, I'm trying to convince them that they need to help. So some facts that are real that really send the idea home are useful. And then the last, so I really am looking for 3 separate things that will show, tell me a little bit more about this problem. So some of the water is dirty and makes them sick. So we know that there's not enough water, and even though they get them, it sometimes makes them sick. So we turn that into a sentence. The water they are able to collect is dirty and will make them and their families sick. All right, so I took this section here, the impact section, and I added it in sentences to the rest of my paragraph. I added that in to make it make sense. Okay, so now you, since your learning target is I can add facts and information to help my reader understand the problem, you're going to go back to your note catchers and you are going to look at that impact section. And some of you just copied some of mine, so you might have to put them in your own words, but these are on page, again, 22, 27, and 34, and they'll also be within your on your assignment, so that might help. So in here, you're going to also have at the bottom, so the note catchers, actually, I'm sorry, the note catchers are not going to be on your assignment because those should have been completed already. We had a catch-up day last week to make sure that all those were filled in. But you are going to see this section right here. This is our sentence stems to help us to be able to write this if we're having trouble. Now, if you are a person who does not like to follow who likes to write everything on their own and doesn't want to follow the sentence stems, please do your own work. That is fine. If you are struggling and need some help, these are some good ways to know how to do these. So I'm going to switch you real quickly to back to my water opinion essay from yesterday. So you are going to go back again. Don't forget how to do this. I'm going to show you. You're going to have your Google here. You're going to go to your Google Docs. And we called it water opinion essay. So you should be able to find it. And if it won't necessarily be across here, but if you labeled it, it should definitely appear. Mine's right here because I was working with it, but it should be one of those, it should be toward the top. Otherwise, you can put water opinion essay in search and I will find it for you. So here's where I started my topic yesterday. And so it says, did you know? And then you said you gave a fact that was interesting to hook the reader. Then you wrote another sentence with some details about that fact. And then you wrote the sentence that has to do with the issue. The issue is blank. So that either had to do with demand, access, or pollution, or a combination of all of them. And so now you are going to add to some more facts. So on the sentence stem, some of the things, they gave us were, so you could say, so in that issue, the fact that millions of people do not have enough access to fresh water. So then I would include something like, for example, and then I would say how many people don't have access to enough fresh water. Where could I get that information? I could get that information from the One Well book, or hopefully somewhere on my note catcher. So for example, and then you just go, fill in the rest of that sentence and so on. Okay. And then, let's see here. There we go. For example, all right. And you don't need to double space it. I'm just doing that so you can see it better. So then you're going to finish that sentence, for example, and that's one of your ideas that helps the reader understand what the issue is. And then you're going to come up with another fact or information, and you say also, and then you're going to explain, also this information that I learned, and so on. And then the last one, another effect of this problem is, and then you will continue on. So when you do that, you should have 3 more sentences today. So yesterday you had 3 sentences, today you have 3 sentences, and they will help our reader understand that there is this problem, and we in the next paragraph are going to explain to them how they can help with this problem. But for now, we need to explain it well so that they understand that there is a problem and it gives them a reason to want to help. Okay, so we had 3 sentences yesterday. We have 3 sentences today at least. Now, if you have more information that you want to add to your paragraph than those 3 sentences for today, that's okay, add them. just make sure that you're using your own words and that you are not copying things directly from the book, or okay, or directly from your note catcher if you copied it from Mrs. Harrison. Do please you try to use your own words. All right, so you're using this is continuing the essay from yesterday, so you do not need to start a new one today. So go into your Google Docs, find it, add to it, and then you will be done for your writing assignment today. All right, friends, we will see you tomorrow. Get working.